everybody. Welcome into the New England Ski Journal Basecamp Podcast. We're here in beautiful Milton, Massachusetts. I am Mike Specian, your host, with my co-host today,
Chip Cook.
Chip Cook, the man, skiing protege.
You know, we're going to talk about one of my favorite things today.
What's that, Chip? Skiing?
Close, but even more so than skiing, whether it's that certain wave or that certain run or that jump you built behind an old mall during a snowstorm, we're going to talk about the novelty. You know, the thing that doesn't necessarily happen all the time, but does happen. And it just kind of brings that smile and that stoke, and one of those things that's like the phantom.
The phantom. Well, what I'm stoked about today, and I'm really stoked about it, is that it has been ungodly hot and humid here in New England. Mm-hmm. Ungodly. And it's just like anything for fall weather to kick in and stay. Mm-hmm. Okay. But we're talking about that snow cone, that ice cream when it's hot. We're talking about skiing in the summer.
No, and that's it. How many times do you look at that ice cream cone or that thing? Or I don't know about you, but I envision runs. You know, I look up at Bear Woods, or like I was joking, I was up in Blue Hills, and Kate kept looking at me like, what are you staring at? And all I could see was lines.
Well, that's you know, it's really funny you mentioned that. When I'm in the whites, when I'm in the Adirondacks, when I'm in the greens, and it's above tree line, all I look at is, ooh, that looks skiable. That looks skiable, you know. And some of it might be, some might not, depending on the snow year, of course. But, you know, I think what's really got me stoked is that we are going to go 2 episodes in the middle of a very hot, humid summer.
Hot.
And we are going to talk about what we're really here for, the New Ski Journal Basecamp, about skiing.
We're going to talk about real snow. We're not talking about fake snow. We're not talking about what we wish happened. We're not talking about...
No grass skis.
I guarantee you today, we don't have to worry about a forecast if we wanted to go make some turns. And we'll touch on that here in a little bit.
Well, I think with everybody, if you could create... Let's just take Stowe, for example. And let's talk about a run called Lift Line. Mm-hmm. Okay, great, iconic run. And you could have Lift Line absolutely, maybe not a foot in new, which we all would love, but absolutely consistent snow every day of the year. And you could ride that front 4 quad, hop down Lift Line, and have the exact same experience.
Guaranteed.
The
exact same experience.
Okay, maybe look, 2,000 vertical feet, that's wishful thinking at this moment in time. But, we're going to go down to the Meadowlands, Newark, New Jersey, right off Route 95. This is
30 minutes outside of the city.
Look, this is not Snowbird. This is not Alta. This is not J Peak.
But what it is a turn.
It's a turn. It's being on snow, real snow, guaranteed any day of the year, no matter whether it's raining outside, 95 degrees and humid in New England. It's like a wave pool.
Consistent. But it's one of those things. I call it, probably it's a therapy visit for a guy like me. Right about this time, I get a crank factor that I know my wife gets a little upset with. I'm not sure how your wife deals with it, but I'm getting grumpy and I'm waiting for something.
Well, have you ever had that moment? And my wife will tell you, she's seen it, and it has happened. Had that moment that's, you're in the springtime or whatever, it's hot outside, or it could be in the summer, and all of a sudden I need to make a turn. I need to make a turn. It's happened to me in the spring, just before Pat's Peak closed numerous years ago. I looked at my wife and I said, I'm going to Pat's. She goes, what do you mean? I need to go make a turn before they closed. It was a springtime, 60-degree day. It was soft bumps. I think I was the only one at Pat's with the lift running. But the point is, we're skiers. It's what we live for in many ways. And today, we're going to be down in the Meadowlands talking to Hugh Reynolds from Big Snow. And it's going to be, look, you're not getting your Alta powder day here. Ain't happening. But guess what? Alta isn't open right now. So why not go down and make a few turns?
In 3 hours away. Easy.
Well,
we do that without even thinking twice to head up to the Loaf.
Guess what? You could be, I'm going to Southern Connecticut for the weekend, or you could live in Southern Connecticut. Why not throw a pair of skis in? And I would suggest slalom type skis. Don't throw in the 100
You're not
above.
bringing your 110s.
Right. You leave the powder skis at home. But I am telling you, Chip and I have been there. It was a gas. One year, it was my first day of skiing in September. It's like there's a triple chairlift there.
There's a jump.
There's terrain-based learning. There's a terrain park. It's got everything that you're going to find at your local small hill in southern New England. But you can't ski on those in August. You can here. So coming up next from Big Snow, American Dream, down in the Meadowlands, will be Hugh Reynolds. We're looking forward to it, Hugh. We'll be right back.
If you want to be inspired and informed on everything about the New England ski and outdoor scene, then you need to check out skijournal.com. Skijournal.com delivers daily content on breaking industry news, tips, gear, dining, travel, entertainment, as well as all archived episodes of the Emmy-nominated New England Ski Journal TV show and the Basecamp Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe to New England Ski Journal, the longest-running regional ski magazine in the country. New England Ski Journal's award-winning writers and photographers bring all 4 seasons to your door with best-in-class coverage on skiing and the outdoors. Log on to skijournal.com and click on the subscribe button to get New England Ski Journal mailed to you today. New England Ski Journal is a Seamans Media publication. Seamans Media. Inspiring. Informative. Insightful.
And when you're ready.
Welcome back to the Basecamp Podcast. Joining us now from Big Snow, American Dream, Hugh Reynolds, Marketing and Sales. Hey, Hugh, how are you?
How's it going, guys? Doing well.
Fantastic.
Good. So how's the snow conditions down there?
Oh, it's 28 degrees and fresh snow every day at Big Snow.
Well,
August, Mike. August.
it's just incredible. Year-round indoor skiing, consistency. I mean, it's just amazing. Since Chip and I have both been there, this is going to be a fun talk because we both had the experience of going, wow, this is something different than I've done before.
It is something special, especially this time of year when you can't get on snow elsewhere. You can't help but smile when you walk in the door. You know, it's winter 364 days a year. And to be able to go down there when it's, 95 degrees out and 98% humidity and walk into winter for a couple hours, make some turns, hang out with your friends. It's everything that skiing is about.
It is. You said the 95, 98, 100, whatever the temperature has been. It has been super warm. How did this idea come about, and where else? Is there any place else in the USA that you can get an experience like this?
Yeah, Big Snow is the only facility of its kind in North America. So you'd have to travel to Europe or to South America to find something similar that offers, year-round indoor skiing and snowboarding on real snow, not on a synthetic surface. So it is fairly unique, and we're super proud to have it here in the Northeast in New Jersey, right there in the Meadowlands. If you followed the history of the project at all, it's got a lengthy one. The project was started in the early 2000s under a development company out in North Carolina, and they had this idea for this very themed retail entertainment center. They happened to be backed by Lehman Brothers, and when the world financial crisis happened, that project kind of went dormant, and it sat for a long time. And for those of us who live in the area, it had a fairly checkered reputation. The design of the building originally was a monument to sea containers in Port Elizabeth, so it had these funky colors, and it kind of really stuck out on the skyline. Sometime in the early 2010s, the state of New Jersey approached 555 Corporation, which is a company out of Canada that owns the West Edmonton Mall and the Mall of America in Minneapolis. And the state approached them about, taking over this project and revitalizing it, seeing it through the fruition. We got involved 2015. We started having some conversations about potentially being involved in Big Snow. We signed our lease in 2016, and we opened for business on December 5th of 2019.
That's incredible. So that is why the Meadowlands, it was part of a bigger project. I wondered why the Meadowlands was the location.
Yeah, we sit on state land. We're part of the New Jersey Sports and Exhibition Authority. So, our neighbors are MetLife Stadium, the Giants training facility, the Meadowlands racetrack. The former Continental Airlines Arena is just outside our building, right next door to us. That facility is now a sound stage for CBS television. So they film a lot of your favorite CBS shows over in that location. So yeah, it's a cool spot. There's a lot happening in that area. Concerts all summer long, sporting events. It's brings a lot of eyeballs to Big Snow, and a lot of foot traffic to the shopping center.
Now, Hugh, let's get into it. I mean, I've talked about Big Snow to a lot of my customers in the ski industry. I bring it up quite a bit because I find it just a kind of place that brings a little smile to my face in the middle of August. But let's talk about the hill, the trails, the terrain park. I'm kind of getting a little stoked here.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that happen when guests come to Big Snow for the first time. When those doors open and you walk into the cold space, that temperature really hits you, and it feels like winter. As I mentioned, it's 28 degrees year round indoors. We get a lot of guests that show up thinking it's going to be spring skiing, so they show up in their t-shirts and their shorts. It is certainly not spring in the dome. It is full on winter. We have 4 acres or just under 4 acres of indoor skiing surface. If you're familiar with our layout, it kind of looks like an L. So we have a small learning hill that we also offer some snow tubing on. That's serviced by 2 magic carpets. The main slope is 750 feet in run length. We divide that into 2 areas. Half of it is open for general skiing and riding. The other half is dedicated to terrain park. Once a month, we build moguls. So one weekend a month, we build a mogul run down the center of the slope. So it's got something for everyone. If you're an existing skier or snowboarder, we also have snow bikes, so you can get out there and slide around on something new if you're looking for a challenge. And then we have full snow sports school there. So if you have young children that you're looking to get engaged in the sport, or friends that you're looking to teach, it's a great place to learn. It's a lot of repetition because it's fast run. It's environmentally controlled, so you don't really have to worry about the effects of weather on your experience. The snow is really consistent, and it's pretty protected. You're not contending with a lot of uphill traffic. So, it really is, maybe the best place in the country to learn how to ski or ride if you're new to the sport.
I mean, what a way to kind of be a feeder hill, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's
No, we wear that proudly.
it's
That's awesome.
And like I said, I've skied there and relatively experienced. Mike's an experienced skier. I had fun. And it's not the novelty of it, but I did see a lot of different programs going on while I was down there. Can you touch on that? Do you have some, specific ski school, or do you work with junior programs to work around, kids trying to get them exposed to this sport?
Yeah, so Big Snow, we won the National Ski Areas Association. Every year they give out an award called the Conversion Cup. It's given to the ski area that does the most to help grow the sports of skiing and snowboarding by introducing new participation. In our first year of operating, we won the Conversion Cup. In our first year, we increased ski and snowboard trial in the U.S. by 9% with our one facility. We see a tremendous amount in the winter months. We see a tremendous amount of new ski and snowboard participants who are trying the sport for the first time. We see them in the summer as well too, but much higher density of that participation in the winter. It is a great place to learn, as I just mentioned. It is also the most ethnically diverse ski area in the world, and I'll say that without any hyperbole or just confidently. I can say that, having traveled to many ski areas around the country and around the world. Where we operate, East Rutherford, New Jersey, 68% non-Caucasian, and both our team members that work at Big Snow and our guests are very representative of the community in which we operate in. So, we're blessed that we're in this great area of the country. It has great diversity. It has 20 million people on our doorstep that we get to tap into. So, some things that we're really proud of is, the new participants that we're introducing to these sports that hopefully, will become lifestyle, lifetime activities for them. We do work with a number of not-for-profits down at Big Snow as well. We work with Burton Chill. We do summer programming there at Big Snow. We do winter programming at our sister resort, Mountain Creek, which is just up the road, also in New Jersey. And then we also work with Hoods to Woods, which is another local not-for-profit. And both of those bring, at-risk youth to the slopes, and they teach them life lessons through snowboarding.
I was going to ask you what exactly your market is. When I was there, it was a few Septembers ago, I guess. I ran into some ski instructors out of, I believe, Ski to Sundown in Connecticut, or somewhere in Connecticut. Might have been Southington. They were there getting some early season turns in.
Yeah.
I was on my way to Baltimore. I threw a pair of skis and boots in and said, I'm going skiing on my way south. I'll just go down 95. Your market as a whole, how broad is it? And do you find most people just look at coming to Big Snow as an experience, or are they there for more than just the experience to get better?
Yeah. There's some seasonality to that question. We do have a high novelty factor, right? Being the only facility of its kind, here in North America. There are people like yourself who, are passionate skiers or snowboarders, and if their travels have them coming through the New York City area, they're going to make it a point to get to Big Snow just to check it off the list and say they've seen it. So we do get a lot of that. In the warm season months, when the outdoor resorts aren't open, we get a lot more destination visitation, people driving down from New England, driving up from Virginia and Maryland and DC area. So I'd say, in terms of destination visitation, we're probably, talking about like a 4 to 5 hour drive radius. Novelty visitation, we've had people come from all over the world just to check out Big Snow because they happen to be in the area, or they made it part of their their itinerary when they're coming through New York City. But the bulk of our market is really the tri-state area. So most of our guests are coming from within a 1 hour drive to the center.
Sure.
Now, one of the things, and we've talked a little bit about the resort and what you have, but Michael backed me up on this. It's fun. What an experience. I mean, and it's funny because I was there just last weekend, or maybe 2 weeks ago. I don't know. My wife took me down to New York. I'm a mountain guy. Don't do well in cities, and the compromise was heading over to your, East Rutherford, New Jersey, and we were able to find a balance. But I think a lot of people would be surprised. It's kind of like a mini resort experience when you're there.
That's awesome. I love to hear that first and foremost. Yeah, I mean, look, the output of any activity or experience is an emotion, and although Big Snow can't compete with the scenic grandeur of outdoor resorts, and it doesn't have as long a runs or as much variety of run. But when you're there and you're making turns and you're with your friends, those emotions are the same, right? So, we can create the same output as a day spent at an outdoor mountain, just, it's on a smaller scale. And, the product that we offer, and again, I'm the marketing guy, so I'm probably biased, but the product that we offer is really good. It's a really fun surface to make turns on. The snow is really consistent. It holds an edge well. You can get some speed in those 8 turns coming down the main run. We host a race league every Monday night in the summer, and it's like, okay,
That's awesome.
How fast can you go in a really short period of time? If you're a terrain park kid, you like hitting jumps, you like sliding on boxes and rails. We have plenty of that, and it really doesn't matter how big the mountain is. If you're coming to take a terrain park run. So we can provide really fun, enjoyable experiences, and it has this amazing novelty factor where you're doing this all in a mall in New Jersey, right? You're walking past the Gap and the Apple Store, and you're carrying your skis and snowboard, and and then we have full service restaurants and bars all around us, so you can have a full ski day experience where you have time on snow, you have a meal, you have some drinks, you have some après. You can do it all right there at Big Snow, no different than an outdoor resort.
And that's one of the things I like, because people think about the mall and immediately is probably associated with everything that's kind of bad with the United States, the classic Americana. But it's like a mini ski resort, like if I wanted to eat this, or I was blown away. It was an experience, and sometimes yes, it's a bit of a novelty maybe for a skier, but it was a laugh and giggle the whole time I was there.
Well, I think what's cool, you just said a race league, and I was going to ask you what type of programs you had. A race league, McIntyre in Manchester, New Hampshire. It's little 200-foot vertical hill. I go up there just to make turns on occasions, just to go see Ross, who runs it, but also just to go make turns. And honestly, it doesn't have to be big to be soulful and fun. And that's what it is. Hugh, just so you know, I just pulled up the webcam. Okay, I was watching the triple go up and the terrain, the learning center over on the left as you look up the hill. It's what skiing should be. We don't have enough feeder areas, and with climate being a major issue right now, especially in your neck of the woods, the farther south we go, the tougher it is to keep a ski area open. So with Big Snow, like Liberty down in Virginia has a year-round ski area with their artificial snow. With the artificial snow year-round, is that viable? Do people? I've never skied on artificial snow, so and I'm sure you've seen it all being involved in the ski industry from the resort standpoint. Is that viable?
I think, Liberty's been around for a while, so I don't know the specifics of their business model, and I have to assume it makes sense or it probably wouldn't exist. It's a different experience, skiing on the synthetic surfaces. They're fun, but they're not snow, and it
Right.
is a bit of a different animal. For us, I think the fact that it's real snow that you're sliding on, and I mentioned some of the misconceptions earlier when people first come to big snow. It's colder, than they think it's going to be. It's bigger than they imagined it would be, even seeing it from the outside. The other thing is, man-made snow, particularly here in the Northeast, it gets a bad rep, right? Like, people hear man-made snow and they automatically think it's an inferior product. And the reality is, man-made snow outdoors is a lot different than our snow indoors.
Sure.
It gets melted by the heat of the sun. The days go through freeze-thaw cycles from day to night, so it gets icy. And for us, our snow never sees the sun. It has very little dirt in it. The only dirt it sees is what gets tracked in on people's feet. The temperature never goes above freezing, so they expect it to be a really icy surface, and it's not. It's the opposite of that. It's a very dry snow. Our snow gets cooled underneath with a glycol radiant cooling system in the floor, very similar to an ice rink.
Sure.
And that helps pull the moisture down out of the snow. The ambient temperature of the room never goes above freezing, so it's not powder snow, but it is a very good groom surface that you get to make turns on. It's we think it's viable. We're actively working on building, well, not building yet, but getting the chance to build additional big snows. We've been working very hard on what will be our first standalone facility, which will be in the Texas market. We're getting really close to being able to make some official announcements on that, hopefully by the end of the summer. But our goal is to build 50 big snows in all the major markets across the country, and give everyone the opportunity to get on snow that might not have been able to otherwise. So
I think that's awesome.
And that's one of the things I love. Like, for me, my whole skiing career started in a small mountain. And because I took one lesson as a knucklehead, it spanned into a phenomenal career and lifestyle that I never could have imagined. And I love that you talk about the snow, because that was one of the things when I got there, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if this was going to be a synthetic. Was this going to be a sheet of ice? I was pleasantly surprised. It took maybe the first couple of turns to find where I wanted to be on my feet, but I'll be very honest. It was not much different than skiing in probably with a better consistency than skiing early season around here in New England outdoors. It was fun.
Honestly, and Hugh, you can correct me here. I got there first thing. Okay, there was still corduroy on the hill.
Yeah, every day.
Every run was actually better. As soon as I cut through that corduroy and got to the second layer, it actually felt better. I was on a 168 very carvy ski. I knew what I was bringing for a ski. I wanted something that turned. And I felt that as it got skied in, the snow actually got better. And I would say, here in New England, I use a benchmark for making snow, and it's called Wachusett, because the Crawleys do an incredible job. And I can tell you that the snow down there was as good as Wachusett ever was, even when it wasn't iced up and too many people on it. It was that good, Hugh.
Well, now you're going to start a feud between Carolyn and ourselves.
You know what?
Shout out to Wachusis. We love those guys. They do a great job. And also to McIntyre and Ross. We're friends with him as well. And they do great stuff up there. But yeah, our process of maintaining the snow at Big Snow, we make snow probably 4 to 5 nights a week, depending on what the temperature of that week is and how much volume we've seen come through the center. We groom every night, and when we groom, we have a process of removing the bad snow. So over time, as it gets skied on and walked on, the snow will deteriorate. It'll start to pick up dirt and residue from your bases and from wax and oils and things that people put on their equipment. So every night we're grooming out a portion of the bad snow. We have a melt pit in our cat garage that we push that snow into, and it melts and it goes back into the water system. So every night we're grooming out the bad snow, and then we're putting a fresh surface on the facility, and then we let it sit for a couple of hours. So when you come in for that first session in the morning, it's firm, as you were saying. It's corduroy, but it's firmed up because it's been sitting, overnight in the sub-freezing temperature. And then as it gets skied on a bit, it loosens up. And I tend to agree with you. I think the first couple hours of the day, the conditions are at their best, but it holds up all day. Most of my time on Big Snow is spent after work hours. I go down there on Monday for the race leagues, and I'll go down and grab some park laps with my friends in the evening after work. And 7, 8 o'clock, it's still a good product. We're still having fun. Going back to the idea of an experience being an emotion. It's so much about who you're doing it with, right? So, if you got a good group of people, how could you not have a good time?
Oh, it's like going bowling or anything else. I mean, like-minded people in a great environment, go out and have a beer afterwards. I think the other thing that's really cool is that huge window. If mom and dad want to sit and watch somebody, their son or daughter, learn how to ski, they can stand up there without being cold. And it's quite impressive. I remember when I walked in there going, wow, I didn't really know what to expect. This is pretty amazing.
Yeah, those windows are very popular. If you show up on the weekend, they're probably stacked up 3 or 4 deep, just trying to get a glimpse of the snow. But yeah, if you have a family and not everyone skis, we have a little cafe area in our space that, people are welcome to sit and watch. There's a public lounge that's part of the shopping center that also has viewing into the center, so you keep eyes on your kids. And then, Yard House above us, full service restaurant that also has beautiful vantage point looking into the center. So lots to do down there. One of the reasons why we started our children's program down there was, to allow parents to come and drop their kids for a couple hours, and they could go, do their shopping and enjoy the mall, enjoy a bite to eat, and we'll take care of the kids for them, and then they come pick them up when they're done.
Now, people always talk, I like that you talked about your junior programs, but can you talk about the instruction? Is it PSIA, all the big buzzwords that people are worried about, but, how do your programs start? What can someone expect in there?
Yeah. So our original company and where we garnered the notoriety that allowed us to get involved in Big Snow in the first place, our original company is called Snow Operating, and we pioneered something called terrain-based learning within the ski industry. So terrain-based learning is a way of teaching people how to ski or snowboard using specifically shaped snow features. So instead of the old way of having a blank, wide open canvas where you're fighting against the forces of gravity because you don't know how to stop, you don't know how to turn, we take gravity out of the equation by using shaped snow to slow the guests down, to stop them, to turn them. And we've implemented that program at close to 80 resorts around the world. We worked in Australia. We worked at the one of the Olympic venues in China leading up to the Olympics there. We work in Canada. We work in the US. And we work with resorts of all sizes. So, from Whistler Blackcomb and Aspen Snowmass down to Cataloochee, North Carolina, right? Like the biggest of the big to some of the smallest of the small. And, that's where we started from. That's kind of our DNA. So we use terrain-based learning at Big Snow. We are partnered with PSIA and Aussie. So, the teaching, we're a PSIA Aussie school. So, the way you teach and the techniques that you teach and the soft skills of how to interact with a guest and to help get them through any fears or barriers that they have to learning, it's all the same. It's just the canvas that you're teaching on is a little bit different when you use terrain-based learning. So yeah, we are partnered with PSIA and Aussie. We've worked with them for a long time. We help contribute a lot to their educational handbooks and materials. So yeah, you're getting a professional level instruction at Big Snow.
That is absolutely awesome. Terrain-based learning absolutely changed the ability to teach somebody how to use a ski. I was with Elon, and of course, Bill was very, very much involved with the build out, as you know, with you.
We had a TBL ski with Elon for
of course you did.
There. Yeah.
Of course you did. And so it was absolutely amazing what it's done to the marketplace. So here in the Boston area, we have a organization called YES, Youth Enrichment Services. Mm-hmm. They do incredible things, including bringing kids to the ski hill. I mean, they work with ski hills all over, being Wachusett, Tenney, and so on. Anything in the greater New York area where you guys, any organization that sort of filters new skiers into Big Snow?
Nothing. I mean, there are a lot of not-for-profits. I mentioned Chill and Hoods to Woods. We've done some work with Stoke Mentoring and a couple of other, groups that are out there. Black Borders, Connecticut. There's a number of not-for-profits that are doing that. At Mountain Creek, our sister resort, we have a very robust after-school program. We have about 300 schools and town rec clubs that bring youth out for five trips during the course of the winter. This fall at Big Snow, we're making our first foray into offering some after-school programs similar to that indoors. So in the summer, we've had great success with working with youth camps and local town rec programs to bring their campers with us for a single day trip. But this year we're going to work on rolling out our first multi-visit after school program at Big Snow.
That's awesome, because I don't care whether you're McIntyre that we talked about, the Neshobas, the Southingtons. The whole industry is dependent on you guys because the baby boomers are aging out. We've got to replace those if we want to keep skiing viable. And thank you for doing that.
No, thank you. And excuse me, I know you were talking about a possible expansion. Now, has there been any pushback from anyone? Mike and I were in the industry. We're diehard skiers, and this is our passion. Have you had any pushback from anyone in the area? To me, it seems like it just puts a smile on my face, but I can see where some people are like, eh.
It's funny that you asked that. So, since opening, we've had almost 9 billion earned media impressions at Big Snow, and our opening event at Big Snow was covered by all the major media outlets. We had all the television networks there covering it. We were on Today's Show. We were on ABC News. It was a big media event, and all of it was very positive, right? Everyone was super excited that this new opportunity is coming to our, to our country and to our area. There was two outlets that posted negative stories related to the opening of Big Snow, and I won't name them by name, but they were both, big endemic media publications, and they had this very elitist slant to their articles about everything that Big Snow is not, right? Like it's this indoor hill in a mall in the swamps of New Jersey. Like, who would want to do this? How could it be good, right? Like they'd already made the decision up in their head before they, and I'm assuming they had already made the decision up in their head of, what the article was going to be before they came and experienced it. So, um, you know, almost universally, everyone has been super positive about Big Snow. They're super complimentary, especially if they've been down there and they've seen what we offer. But our endemic media has been the harshest on us, which I always think is funny because as an industry, we're always talking about how we need to grow the sports, we need to find new participation, we need to change the face of skiing. But then when we do that, we had Kim Kardashian come down. She was just here for her daughter's 11th birthday about a month ago. Last year, she came twice. The first time she came, it was a big news story, right? It got picked up by People and Star and Us Weekly and all these magazines. And like, again, the endemics were like making fun of the fact that she was skiing on rental skis. Like, of all the celebrities that we've had come through Big Snow, she was by far the humblest. And whether you like her or not, like she was just a very nice human, a very good, humble person. She came as part of a tour with American Dream. She was blown away at what we had. She comes from a skiing family. She said she's gonna, next time she was in New York, she's gonna bring her daughters and teach them to ski. She did that. 2 weeks later, she was back. She put her daughters in lessons. She didn't ask for the center to be closed. She didn't ask for any special treatment. Came back again this year, celebrated her daughter's birthday with us. Like, but the endemic media crapped all over that. Like, how much did we pay to get Kim to come to Big Snow? Like, so I find it funny that out of one side of our mouth, we're always talking about, we need to change, we need to grow, we need to attract new participation. But then whenever somebody who doesn't look like us does the activity, whether they're not dressed the right way or, whatever, they don't fit the mold of what we think is a traditional skier, then we make fun of them. So it's a weird industry in that way.
No, and that's what I like about what you touched on earlier is the diversity. And I noticed that when I was there. And it's one of the things I think should be spread throughout the industry and the sporting industry as a whole. But you nailed it. It second we don't see something that's the norm, we want to just kind of push on it. And
yeah, don't even get me started on Jerry of the day and all of that stuff. Right? Like
it kills me.
And I'm here to tell anyone, like, if a skier like myself can go there and have fun. And one of the things that probably put the biggest smile on my face was seeing that new skier have an experience that in our industry, for someone to expose themselves to the sport, a lot of times it's maybe a $2,000-$3,000 weekend to find out, do I like this? Do I not like this? To come to your resort and be able to spend an hour or two at a relatively much lower cost and have something that opens up a larger window to the rest of the family is something that's kind of a unique experience, and it is pretty special.
Yeah, that's what excited us about this opportunity in the first place. We love these sports. They changed our lives, right? Myself and my business partners, we've made a life and a career out of getting people on snow, and we know what these sports can do to enhance and to change people's lives for the better. So the opportunity to introduce more people to that who might not have had the chance otherwise, it's really what drives us and gets us excited. And we were very conscious with our planning around Big Snow of trying to remove as many barriers to entry as we could. Obviously we brought the mountain to the people. So, transportation and accessibility, that's the first one. You check off the list. The design of our product, that when you come to Big Snow, if you don't have your own equipment, if you need a ticket and rentals, we give you everything you need, right? We give you your ski and snowboard hard good rental, but we also give you outerwear and your pants and a jacket and a helmet and a locker. And you can buy a cheap pair of gloves if you don't own gloves, right? You can add that right on at your time of purchase. So it really was thoughtful, to create an experience where if somebody's never skied or snowboarded before and they decide they want to try Big Snow, they can come and do that. They can do it for a couple of hours at a reasonable price, and then they can go about the rest of their day. They can go home, have dinner with their family, go catch a show in the evening. So that making skiing and snowboarding more accessible is really what excited us about this opportunity in the first place.
Well, anybody that has problems with a facility like Big Snow, they're nuts. You guys are adding diversity, and that is so needed in this ski industry. We need more females. We need more kids. We need more minorities. We need everybody to sustain this. And I'm going to leave it with this, is a turn is a turn. It doesn't matter whether you're at Tuckerman's or whether you're at Big Snow. It's still a turn on snow. Warren Miller always said it. And,
the one with the biggest smile wins.
The one with the biggest smile wins. That's the best statement of the day. It's about the smile. It's not about anything other than that. And I can tell you, both Chip and I, when we've been there, it is a smile going, I'm on snow. In September, my first turn's the year. What's wrong with that?
August, June, you guys are doing a good job down there.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Hugh, it was a pleasure having you on. Listeners, make a trip. When you're going down 95, look south, look to the right-hand side. You'll see Big Snow. Pull in and make some turns. Take your skis with you.
Well, thank you, guys. I appreciate the time today, and thanks for shining a light on what we're doing. And anytime you're in the area, don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to get out and make some turns with you.
You'll see us.
We'll do it.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Hugh. That was Hugh Reynolds, sales and marketing for Big Snow in the Meadowlands in New Jersey.
So, Mike, what do you think?
You know what? I was suspect.
You're smiling.
I was suspect when I knew it was happening, when it was being built out. It had a lot of hurdles to overcome because it looked like it wasn't going to happen. Then they had, I don't know if you remember, they had a fire down there at one point also.
Yep.
So there were hurdles, but when I saw them hire a solid original GM and Jim Haas, which we didn't talk about, but when they hired somebody that had experience at a very well-run ski area called Snowshoe down in West Virginia. He was with Interwest. He went to Europe, ran the sister facility, I believe it's in Madrid.
Madrid, yep.
Right, and came back. I knew they were on to something. This is the only way we're going to have sustainability in the ski industry, especially down south.
No, and it's true. And it's not just sustainability from the sense of can we ski, can we continue the ski, but you and I can both say that, not that we're in a dying industry, but it is slowing. And the next generation has to have the opportunity there's so much that goes on in the world, that there's other sports, other things. Time is a valuable thing. And to be able to have a spot like this where, Hugh talked on it, like you could drop the kids off for a couple hours, pick them up and go home. Without it being an entire day, what an opportunity to grow our sport.
It is a huge opportunity to grow the sport. It's also a huge opportunity to expose kids that would never, ever have that exposure to the sport. And, I mentioned YES, which I have the utmost admiration for here in Boston. Grabbing kids, the minorities, he said 60% of the area is not Caucasian, yet 90, 95, 99, I don't know what the numbers are, percent of the skiing population is right now. And guess what? We need
to change that.
Well, we need to change that, and everybody should have the opportunity to fall in love with the sport that you and I love and the listeners love.
No, and it's you and I always touch on it. It's a sport, it's a lifestyle that it changed our course monumentally. And my job, I always say, is to kind of share that with other people. And in a place like Big Sky, I always go back to the Stoke. I can't tell you, I've skied everywhere, and I had as big a smile there as I ever did on any powder day in Aspen. It was fun. I was exposed. I saw the smiles on other people's faces. Are you going to do it 7 days a week? No, but I was down there for a weekend, threw the skis on. I tell you what, I walked out a lot happier than when I went in.
You know what Big Snow does? An area like that, or a Blue Hills, or a Neshoba, or a McIntyre, wherever, okay, anything like that, if you utilize it, first off, it puts a smile on your face, but you also learn to stay neutral and become a better skier through these. It's not, look, every run on skis is a benefit to your skiing. Every single run. I don't care what it is. Not all of them are what you would deem good runs or bad runs. They are runs that will make you a better skier, to allow you to feel your stance, feel the ski, feel angulation. So, Big Snow is a benefit. I'm stoked to hear that they're looking at building this out.
A little expansion there would be fun. And building.
Exactly. Look, the biggest, you ready for this? I don't know if you know the largest ski club in the nation.
Florida.
You nailed it. Florida. Okay? Largest ski club. Think about that. Why can't we have one of these facilities in Florida?
No, there's no reason. I mean, it's
as long as it's hurricane proof. That's the only thing. But no, it's pretty amazing, folks. If you're going down 95, throw your boots in, throw some skis in, or rent them there, and just take an hour and a half, 2 hours. There's a triple chairlift. You can ride in luxury. Guess what? It's not a high speed.
You can't get lost. It's
Hey, you can where else can you let the kids loose and you know where they're going to end up?
And I'm going to throw it out. Everyone go do it. We always say you can cross-train until you're blue in the face. The only way to get better at skiing is skiing.
There you go. So that's it for this episode of the Basecamp Podcast. Big Snow down in the Meadowlands. In 2 weeks, we're going farther south, and we're going to be in Portillo, Chile. So we go from a feeder area to one of the premier ski areas in the world, and definitely one of the premier at this time of year. So looking forward to it. I want to thank you, Chip, and everybody for joining us today.
All right. Have a good week, Mike.
Hey, till next time on the Basecamp Podcast.
New England Ski Journal's Basecamp is a Seamans Media podcast. Seamans Media. Inspiring, informative, insightful.